students. Welcome to another class on reading drama. So once again we are going to discuss about Arms and the Man. So I have been making you a series of videos on this topic and we have now reached Act 3 and this is the second video in this series. So in the last video we already learned the setting, which is that afternoon after the men arrive. Captain Bluntschli also arrives in the Petkoff house and they are all huddled up together in the Petkoff library, which is not much of a library. We saw about it earlier. So we see Raina, Catherine, Major Petkoff, Major Saranov and Captain Bluntschli at the library. Captain Bluntschli is drawing orders for the cavalry to be sent to Philippopolis. Sergius is signing them and Petkoff is relaxing in his library with a newspaper. And then we also see Catherine is doing some embroidery and Raina is looking out into the mountains very dreamily. And then they start talking about the orders and also we see that Petkoff feels uncomfortable without his old coat. So Catherine sends for the coat with Nicola. And Petkoff makes a bet that the coat is not there because he looked for it beforehand. He couldn't find it. But we know that he couldn't find the coat before because it was actually with Captain Bluntschli and he had just brought it back. And after maybe Petkoff looked in the wardrobe, they might have hung it up there. So Nicola comes and brings the coat again. So the bet is won by Catherine. So bet അനുസരിച്ച് Catherine കൊടുക്കാൻ പോകുന്ന എന്താണ്? Catherine will be given a choice to buy any jewelry from any piece of jewelry from Sofia, from that town. And also Raina is promised a best horse, an Arabian horse by Sergius, as far the bet is concerned. And after that, they prepare to send messengers with the order. So Catherine, Petkoff and Sergius exit. Now only Raina and Bluntschli are in the library. This is the first chance they got to talk with each other. So first of all, Raina inquires about Bluntschli's health and how he got back that morning. And then she asks if he revealed about his nightly adventure to anybody. And to which Bluntschli says that he did tell that to a friend. And actually that friend has revealed all the information to Major Petkoff and Saranov. Only they don't know that this happened in their own household, and the women in question are Catherine and Raina. So Raina is a little mad at Bluntschli now, and then a discussion continues, and Bluntschli reveals that whenever Raina has that noble attitude and the thrilling voice, he finds it very amusing, but he doesn't believe in her. Now Raina is so amazed that Bluntschli recognized the real Raina because Raina actually hides behind this thrilling voice and noble attitude. That is not the real picture of Raina. So she's so amazed that this is the first man to ever take her seriously. And then Bluntschli says that, yes, I am the first man to take you seriously, but I am also your infatuated admirer. I also admire you just like your parents, Sergius, your nurse, and everybody in this house. I am also your admirer. Now this is a tender moment, and Raina asks another question to Bluntschli. She asks, what do you think of the portrait I gave you? Now Bluntschli never got any portrait, so it is revealed that Raina actually hid her portrait with an inscription behind it on inside Major Petkoff's coat, which Bluntschli wore to be safe that night. Now Petkoff is actually wearing that coat. Now this is a problematic situation because at the moment Petkoff is wearing the coat and any moment he can put his hand into the pocket and realize that there is a photo. Now as they are talking, we see Luca enter. That is where we left off in the last video. Let's see what Luca brings to the scene. Luca comes in with a heap of letters and telegrams on her salver and crosses with a bold free gait to the table. Her left sleeve is looped up to the shoulder with a brooch showing her naked arm and with a broad gilt bracelet covering the bruise.
For you.
She empties the salver recklessly on the table.
The messenger is waiting.
Will you excuse me? The last postal delivery that reached me was 3 weeks ago. These are the subsequent accumulations. 4 telegrams, a week old. Oh, bad news.
Bad news?
My father's dead.
Oh, how very sad.
Yes, I shall have to start for home in an hour. He's left a lot of big hotels behind him to be looked after. Here's a whacking letter from the family solicitor. Great heavens, 70, 200, 400, 4,000, 9,600. What on earth am I to do with them all?
9,000 hotels?
Hotels? Nonsense. If you only knew. Oh, it's too ridiculous. Excuse me, I must give my fellow owners about starting.
He reams the room hastily with the documents in his hand.
He has not much heart, that Swiss. He's not a word of grief for his poor father.
Grief? A man who has been doing nothing but killing people for years. What does he care? What does any soldier care?
Major Saranov has been fighting too, and he has plenty of heart left. I thought you wouldn't get much feeling out of your soldier.
Now Raina has exited. Luca is about to follow her. So in the last scene, as you might have understood, I was reading Raina. And Luca's part was read by Amal, and Captain Bluntschli, as usual, was Joe. So let's see what Luca came with. So Luca actually came with some telegrams for Bluntschli. So Bluntschli even expresses that the last telegram he received was 3 weeks ago. So he has been traveling, so he hasn't received any telegrams. Now he got 4 telegrams, a week old telegrams. And it actually brought bad news for him. And the bad news was that his father is now dead. His father has passed away. It also expresses that he has inherited some hotels. In first act, it was mentioned that his father owns 6 hotels. So he is reading the telegram and he is reading out numbers like, great heavens, 70, 200, 400, 4,000, 9,600. Now he reads these numbers. Now we are wondering, even Raina is asking, 9,000 hotels? Did he leave you 9,000 hotels? Now he says that, no, I have to leave soon. So he gets ready to leave for Switzerland in an hour. So he has to start from this house in an hour. So Captain Bluntschli exits at this point. Now this is another turn of events. When we first met Captain Bluntschli in Act 1, he was very dirty and bloody, and he didn't look anything but like a simple army or soldier. He didn't look rich or anything, a common man. But now he has become a rich heir. He has inherited a few hotels, and he has now become a rich owner of hotels. So now Captain Bluntschli is exiting, and Luca is now left alone with Raina. And whenever Luca is left alone with Raina, she has a habit of putting some jab into Raina. Raina ഒന്ന് കുത്തി സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് എന്തുകൊണ്ടോ ലൂക്കയ്ക്ക് ഭയങ്കര ഇഷ്ടമാണ്. But Luca ഇങ്ങനെ പറയുന്നു, okay, he has not much heart, that's Swiss. He has not a word of grief for his poor father. അയാളുടെ അച്ഛൻ മരിച്ചു പോയിട്ട് അയാൾ ഒരു സങ്കടത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു വാക്ക് പോലും പറഞ്ഞില്ല. He doesn't have a heart. So Luca comments that Bluntschli is soulless and heartless. And then she also compares Bluntschli to Sergius, who is a soldier but full of heart. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഇവന്റ് നടന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ Sergius will become emotional. He might even give a speech about it. But Raina says that it might be because of his soul. He was a soldier. He has been a soldier for 14 years. So that is why he has seen all these things in past, death and devastation and all. So it doesn't affect him. So the Raina's reaction to Bluntschli being accused as soulless is very cool, because by now she knows that Captain Bluntschli is very practical. So that is why the news of death doesn't amaze him, or it doesn't steep him into emotions or anything. Anyway, now Raina exits and Nicola enters. Now Nicola enters as Luca is about to exit the library. So now Luca and Nicola are left alone in the library. See, this is what happens in the library with Luca and Nicola. Let's see the events.
I've been trying all the afternoon to get a minute alone with you, my girl. Why, what fashion is that of wearing your sleeve, child?
My own fashion.
Indeed, if the mistress catches you, she'll talk to you.
Is there any reason why you should take it on yourself to talk to me?
Come, don't be so contrary with me. I've some good news for you. See a 20 leva bill. Sergius gave me that out of pure swagger. A fool and his money are soon parted. There's 10 levas more. The Swiss gave me that for backing up the mistress and Raina's lies about him. He's no fool, he is not. You should have heard old Catherine downstairs, as polite as you please to me, telling me not to mind the major being a little impatient, for they knew what a good servant I was, after making a fool and a liar of me before them all. The 20 will go to our savings, and you shall have the 10 to spend if you'll only talk to me so as to remind me that I'm a human. I get tired of being a servant occasionally.
Yes. Sell your manhood for 30 levers and buy me for 10. Keep your money. You were born to be a servant. I was not. When you set up your shop, you will only be everybody's servant instead of somebody's servant.
Wait till you see. We shall have our evenings to ourselves, and I shall be master of my own house, I promise you.
You shall never be master in mine.
You have a great ambition in you, Luca. Remember, if any luck comes to you, it was I that made a woman of you.
You?
Yes, me. Who was it made you give up wearing a couple of pounds of false black hair on your head and reddening your lips and cheeks like any other Bulgarian girl? I did. Who taught you to trim your nails and keep your hands clean and be dainty about yourself like a fine Russian lady? Me. Do you hear that? Me. I've often thought that if Raina were just out of the way and you just a little less of a fool and Sergius just a little more of one, you might come to be one of the grandest customers instead of only being my wife and costing me money.
I believe you would rather be my servant than my husband. You would make more out of me. Oh, I know that's all of yours.
Never you mind my soul, but just listen to my advice. If you want to be a lady, your present behavior to me won't do at all, unless when we're alone. It's too sharp and impudence is a sort of familiarity. It shows affection for me, and don't you try being high and mighty with me either. You're like all country girls. You think it's genteel to treat a servant the way I treat a stable boy. That's only your ignorance, and don't you forget it. And don't be so ready to defy everybody. Act as if you'd expected to have your own way, not as if you expected to be ordered about it. The way to get on a lady is the same as the way to get on as a servant. You've got to know your place. That's the secret of it, and you may depend on me to know my place if you get promoted. Think over it, my girl. I'll stand by you. One servant should always look out for another.
Oh, I must behave in my own way. You take all the courage out of me with your cold blooded wisdom. Go and put those logs on the fire. That's the sort of thing you understand. Before Nicola can retort, Sergius now comes in. He checks himself a moment on seeing Luca, then goes to the store. So we just saw the conversation between Nicola and Luca. I was reading Luca and my husband was reading Nicola. So as Luca is about to follow Raina out of the library, Nicola enters. Now when Nicola comes in, so he expresses that he's been looking for Luca all afternoon. Luക്കയോടൊന്ന് ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് സംസാരിക്കാൻ ഒരു അവസരം നോക്കിയിരിക്കുമായിരുന്നു നിക്കോള. But now Nicola notices that Luca is wearing her sleeve in a special way. She is exposing her arm and she is wearing a piece of jewelry over her bruise. You can't actually see it here, but yeah, if you look at this picture, you can see how this sleeve is fully worn, but this sleeve she has raised it up and she's exposing her arm, and this is where Sergius actually held her last and hurt her. So she's got a bruise there. അവിടെ ഒരു പാടൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ആ പാട് മറയ്ക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ് she's using this jewelry. So anyway, Nicola is objecting to Luca's way of dressing. That is how responsible men behave with their women supposedly, but Luca objects to Nicola having an opinion about her way of life. So Luca doesn't care about it at all. So once again, we get to know the nature of their relationship. On Luca's part, it is one of disdain. Lucaki Nicolayodu pucham മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. Whereas on the part of Nicola, he feels that he needs to discipline Luca. So it is actually again an engagement of convenience rather than a romantic engagement. Now Nicola has come to give some happy news to Luca. So he shares the happy news that he got some money as bribe. So he received 10 levas from Captain Bluntschli for backing up Raina's story. So Raina made up a story about making a chocolate cream soldier ornament for an ice pudding, and how Nicola broke it by stacking a pile of plates on top of it. And Nicola played along with it. So Bluntschli is giving a bribe now. ഒരു 10 levas കൈക്കൂലിയായിട്ട് കൊടുത്തു. And also he received another 20 levas from Sergius, because Sergius was just showing off. Sergius wants to show off in front of everybody that he is very benevolent. That is why he gave 20 levas to Nicola. അപ്പോൾ Sergiusനെ പറ്റിയുള്ള നിക്കോളയുടെ ഒറിജിനൽ അഭിപ്രായവും ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. A fool and his money are soon parted. That is what Nicola tells about Sergius. Even for Nicola, Sergius is a fool. And Catherine has been very grateful towards Nicola, because Nicola cooperated with the entire situation, even though everybody blamed him. So these are the perks of being an ideal servant in a household. He might have to take a lot of blame, but behind everybody's back, he will be getting such rewards like money and appreciation and all. Now Nicola actually wants to give 10 levas to Luca, so that Luca could spend it any way she likes. And he wants the rest of the 20 levas to go into his savings, because he's saving some money to buy a shop in Sofia. Now Luca doesn't want that money. And also he wants to treat him, somebody to treat him as a human being. That reveals that he is actually really tired of being treated as a servant by everyone in this household. Everyone is blaming Nicola for things they themselves have done. So he is really tired of being treated as a servant. He wants Luca to treat him as an equal or as a human being. But Luca is disgusted. She says that you have sold your manhood for 30 levas and buy me for 10. So this is again a biblical reference. 30 വെള്ളിക്കാശിന് യൂദാസാണ് ഒറ്റി കൊടുത്തത്. ഇവിടെ നിക്കോള വിറ്റത് അയാളുടെ ആണത്തമാണ്. Okay, but Luca is disgusted with Nicola's choice of servitude. What Luca hates is being a servant, and Nicola is very happy being a servant. Although Nicola has big plans to be his own master, he has the soul of a servant. So Luca doesn't approve of this way of life. And Nicola says that he at least hopes to be a master in his own house. സ്വന്തം വീട്ടിലെങ്കിലും മാസ്റ്ററായിട്ട് ജീവിക്കാൻ ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ടെന്ന് നിക്കോള പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ലൂക്ക ഷാറ്റേഴ്സ് ഹിസ് ഇല്യൂഷൻസ്. ലൂക്ക റിവീൽസ് ദാറ്റ് she doesn't intend to make him the master of her house. That again reveals that Luca has no plan of marrying Nicola. So there won't be any marriage between them, and Luca is very sure about that. And Nicola gets a little angry at Luca here. See how his expression changes? Nicola reminds Luca that it was he who rescued her from a lower class living. അപ്പോൾ ലൂക്കയുടെ ഒരു പാസ്റ്റിനെ പറ്റിയൊക്കെ ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. ലൂക്ക യൂസ് ടു വെയർ a couple of pounds of false black hair on her head. She used to wear red lipstick, and she used to redden her cheeks and all. She used to dress very cheaply. But Nicola groomed her and made her into a fine Russian lady, so she can get a job in this upper class household. So we get a glimpse into Luca's past, and we also get to know that it was Nicola who actually rescued Luca from her old life. And Nicola again exclaims that Luca could be a little more wise. So he exclaims that if Raina was not in the picture, and Luca was a little less foolish, and Sergius was a little more foolish, Luca would have been his customer instead of his wife. What does that mean? If things were working in a different manner, Luca and Sergius would have married. And Nicola might have got a fine customer for the shop he is planning to build in Sofia. Nicola സോഫിയയിൽ ഒരു ഷോപ്പൊക്കെ തുടങ്ങാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പം സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഒക്കെ ഡിഫറെൻ്റ് ആയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ലൂക്കയും സെർജിയസും കല്യാണം കഴിച്ച് അവിടെ നിക്കോളയ്ക്ക് ലൂക്ക ഒരു ഭാര്യയായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കസ്റ്റമറായിട്ട് അറിയാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിരുന്നേനെ. സോ it seems that Nicola is also aware of Luca and Sergius's affair. So nothing actually escapes the eye of a very observant servant, and that is exactly what Nicola is in this house. Now Nicola and Luca begin to argue with each other. Nicola says that you have no respect for me, and they start arguing with each other. That is when Sergius enters. Sergius is asking, I'm not interrupting anything, right? So, are you busy with something? So Sergius asks something like that. And Nicola says, "Oh no, sir, thank you. I'm just speaking to this foolish girl. See, she has this dirty habit of reading books in the library whenever she gets a chance." Now we understand another habit of Luca. Even though Luca is a lower class girl, she has this habit of reading books. So it says that she prefers to get an education. She has a liking for books. That is what we understand here. Now Nicola exits. Now Sergius and Luca are left alone in the library. Let's see what happens after Act 2. This is the first time that Sergius and Luca are seeing each other. In Act 2, Sergius actually hurt her, and he gave her a bruise. Now it is let's see what follows between them.
I'm not in the way of your work, I hope.
Oh, no, sir. Thank you kindly. I was only speaking to this foolish girl about her habit of running up here to the library whenever she gets a chance to look at those books. That's the worst of her education, sir. It gives her habits above her station. Make that table tidy, Luca, for the major.
He goes out sedately. Luca, without looking at Sergius, begins to arrange the papers on the table. He crosses slowly to her and studies the arrangement of her sleeve reflectively.
Let me see. Is there a mark there?
He turns up the bracelet and sees the bruise made by his grasp. She stands motionless, not looking at him, fascinated but on her guard.
Does it hurt?
Yes.
Shall I cure it?
No! You cannot cure it now.
You're sure?
Don't trifle with me, please. An officer should not trifle with a servant.
That was no trifle, Luca.
No. Are you sorry?
I am never sorry.
I wish I could believe a man could be so unlike a woman as that. I wonder, are you really a brave man?
Yes, I'm a brave man. My head jumped like a woman's at first shot, but in the charge, I found that I was brave. Yes, that at least is real about me.
Did you find in the charge that the men whose fathers are poor like mine were any less brave than the men who are rich like you?
Not a bit. They all slashed and tore and yelled like whole heroes. Push! The courage to rage and kill is cheap. I have an English bull terrier who has as much of that sort courage as the whole Bulgarian nation, the whole Russian nation at its back. But he lets my groom trash him all the time. That your soldier all over. No, Luca, your poor men can cut throats, but they're afraid of their officers. They put up with insults and blows. They stand by and see another punished like children. Aye, and help to do it when they are ordered. And officers? Well, I'm an officer. Oh, give me the man who will defy to the death any power on the earth or in heaven that sets itself up against his own will and consciousness. He alone is a brave man.
How easy it is to talk. Men never seem to me to grow up. They all have schoolboys' ideas. You don't know what true courage is.
Indeed, I'm willing to be instructed.
Look at me. How much am I allowed to have my own will? I have to get your room ready for you, to sweep and dust, to fetch and carry. How could that degrade me if it did not degrade you to have it done for you? But if I were the Empress of Russia, above everyone in the world, then, though according to you I could show no courage at all, you should see.
What would you do, most noble Empress?
I would marry the man I loved, which no other queen in Europe has the courage to do. If I loved you, though you would be as far beneath me as I am beneath you, I would dare to be the equal of my inferior. Would you dare as much if you loved me? No. If you felt the beginnings of love for me, you would not let it grow. You dare not. You would marry a rich man's daughter because you would be afraid of what other people would say about you.
You lie. It is not so. By all the stars, if I loved you and I were the Christ himself,
Zar,
Tsar himself, I would set you on the throne by my side. You know that I love another woman, a woman as high above you as is above earth, and you are jealous of her.
I have no reason to be. She will never marry you now. The man I told you has come back. She will marry the Swiss.
The Swiss?
A man worth 10 of you. Then you can come to me and I will refuse you. You are not good enough for me.
I will kill the Swiss, and afterwards I will do as I please with you.
The Swiss will kill you perhaps. He has beaten you in love. He may beat you in war.
Do I think I believe that sheep was worse thoughts are higher than your best ones, is capable of trifling with another man behind my back?
Do you think that she would believe the Swiss if he told her now that I am in your arms?
Damnation! Oh, damnation! Mockery, mockery everywhere. Everything I think is mocked by everything I do. Coward, liar, fool! Shall I kill myself like a man or live and pretend to laugh at myself? Luca, remember, you belong to me.
What does that mean? An insult?
It means that you love me and that I have had you here in my arms and I will perhaps have you there again. Whether that is an insult, I neither know nor care. Take it as you please. But I will not be a coward and a trifler. If I choose to love you, I dare marry you, in spite of all Bulgaria. If these hands ever touch you again, they shall touch my affectionate bride.
Affianced bride.
Affianced bride.
We shall see whether you dare keep your word. But take care. I will not wait long.
Yes, we shall see, and you shall wait my pleasure.
Now, Bluntschli, much preoccupied with his papers still in his hand, enters, leaving the room open for Luca to go out. He goes across to the table, glances at her as he passes. Sergius, without altering his resolute attitude, watches him steadily. Luca goes out, leaving the door open. So we just saw the conversation between Sergius and Luca. Nicola was there for a few moments, but Nicola went out. So Sergius and Luca now alone in the library. So Sergius first of all asks Luca if the bruise is still hurting her. She replies yes. And he asks if he can cure it. So Sergius is actually trying to take her in his arms. കെട്ടിപ്പിടിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. Luca objects to it. And Luca asks if he is sorry. Are you sorry? And Sergius replies with lot of pride, I am never sorry. So he refuses to apologize to Luca. So Sergius is apparently much calmer than he was in Act 2. In Act 2, he was really outraged. He was very angry at Luca. He even hurt her physically. But he looks calmer now. He wants to make up with Luca. But he has so much pride that he refuses to say sorry to Luca for hurting her. Now, Luca questions Sergius' bravery. He asks Sergius if he is a brave man, and Sergius believes himself to be brave. He didn't know that he was this brave, but when he was in the battlefield, he experienced his own bravery, courage. So, while he was leading the cavalry charge against artillery, first of all, he was a little frightened, but then he experienced a rush of courage. So, he experienced in the battlefield that he was not a courage, he is actually brave. Now Luca asks, in the battlefield, if the rich and poor soldiers are equally brave, അല്ലാതെ പണക്കാർ മാത്രമാണോ ബ്രേവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള പാവപ്പെട്ട ആളുകളും ബ്രേവ് അല്ലേ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഹി റിപ്ലൈസ് ദാറ്റ് ബോത്ത് റിച്ച് സോൾജേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് പുവർ സോൾജേഴ്സ് ഷോ ദ സെയിം കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ബ്രേവറി. But the problem with poor soldiers are they are afraid of their superior officers. So Sergius himself is a superior officer, so he acknowledges that superior officerനെ റെസ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യാത്ത സോൾജേഴ്സ് ആരും തന്നെ ഇല്ല. അവർക്ക് ബാറ്റിൽ ഫീൽഡിൽ പേടിയൊന്നുമില്ല, പക്ഷെ അവർക്ക് അവരുടെ സുപ്പീരിയർ ഓഫീസേഴ്സിനെ നല്ല പേടിയുണ്ട്. Now Luca claims that this is not the real kind of courage. This is not true courage. This is actually a childish kind of courage എന്ന് പറയാണ്. Okay. So according to you, I could show no courage at all. Luca ഇങ്ങനെ പറയാണ്, this is not the real kind of courage at all. This is just like a boyish kind of courage. Let me see. Yeah, so these are just schoolboys' ideas, according to Luca, showing courage in the battlefield and all. Now, Sergius wants to say, so what is the real courage according to you? Now, Luca says that the true courage is having the free will to do things. നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാനുള്ള നമ്മുടെ ഫ്രീ വിൽ, അതിനാണ് റിയൽ കറേജ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Now, she says that she does all the household work, like cooking and cleaning for Sergius, people including Sergius, because it is her free will. She wishes to do that. Whereas Sergius വിചാരിച്ചാൽ പോലും Sergius could not do all these things because it will be beneath his station. He's an upper class man and he can't do cooking and cleaning. So he is a coward. He is cowardly enough not to do that. And likewise, she also says that if I were the Empress of Russia herself, and I were in love with a man much beneath my station, I will still marry that man. I will show that courage. That is the real courage. ഞാനൊരു പണക്കാരിയായിരുന്നു, ഞാൻ റഷ്യയുടെ രാജ്ഞിയായിട്ട് നിങ്ങളെപ്പോലെ ഒരു റാങ്കിലുള്ള ഒരു മനുഷ്യനുമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ പ്രണയത്തിലായിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ അയാളെ ഞാൻ വിവാഹം കഴിക്കാൻ ഒരു നിമിഷം പോലും ഞാൻ വൈകിപ്പിക്കില്ല. I will have that kind of free will and courage. Now she is challenging Sergius as cowardly because Sergius doesn't have the daring to choose Luca as his wife because Luca belongs to the working class. Sergius എപ്പോഴും എന്താ പറയുക, അയാളുടെ സ്റ്റേഷൻ, അയാളുടെ സ്റ്റേറ്റസ് ഒക്കെ നോക്കണം. ഈവൻ ദോ Sergius might be in love with Luca, Sergius won't have the courage to pursue her or marry her. But Sergius claims that he doesn't want to pursue Luca because he is in love with another woman. That is Raina. So he can't choose Luca over Raina because it's not because of lack of courage, it is because he is in love with Raina. But we know that this love that Sergius claims with Raina is actually a farce. So you see this. This is where Sergius and Luca, they are talking to each other in the library. He's trying to touch her and all. So you see how pretty Luca is and how intent Sergius is in Luca. So you see the kind of dress worn by servants that point, a particular point of time in history. Okay. So again, Luca reveals that you claim that you are in love with Raina, but Raina will never marry you now because the one person she is in love with is finally here. So Luca reveals that the man of knightly adventure is actually Captain Bluntschli, the Swiss man. Now Raina will never marry Sergius. Now this is a revelation. This is a further turn of events. It is further leading to complication and resolution. Now Sergius is really outraged at it. Sergius wants to fight Captain Bluntschli. He wants to fight him and kill him. But Luca says that he has already beat you in love. He might even beat you in war. സ്നേഹത്തിൽ അയാൾ നിങ്ങളെ തോൽപ്പിച്ചു, ഇനി അയാളോട് യുദ്ധത്തിന് പോയാൽ അവിടെയും അയാൾ നിങ്ങളെ തോൽപ്പിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്. Now Sergius becomes really violent and he grabs Luca again. She's already hurt by him. He's grabbing Luca again. He still can't believe that somebody like Raina can stoop so low enough to cheat on him. So Sergius is again behaving like an uncouth fellow. He told that he's a gentleman. He won't do that to Luca, but he is again grabbing Luca. As we can actually see the real picture of Sergius too. Sergius and Raina, both of them, they are not like what they're projecting themselves to be. They have alter egos, so to say. അവർ കാണിക്കുന്ന പോലത്തെ ആൾക്കാരല്ല, ഈ ലോഫ്റ്റി സെന്റിമെന്റ്സ് മാത്രമുള്ള ആൾക്കാരൊന്നുമല്ല. അവർക്കൊരു ഡ്യുവൽ ലൈഫ് ഉള്ള ആൾക്കാരാണ്. നൗ ഹീ ഈസ് ഇൻ ഫെർദർ ഡെസ്പെയർ. ഹീ ഈസ് സോ ആംഗ്രി ആൻഡ് അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം ഹീ ഈസ് സോ സാഡ് ടു. നോട്ട് സാഡ് because Raina cheated on him, but he had certain ideals about Raina, that Raina is such a lady and she will never stoop so low. Raina was the absolute realization of his romantic ideals, but now that illusion is broken. Now he's in despair and he's holding Luca in his arms and he says that, Luca, you are mine, you belong to me, nee endeയാണ്, nee enne chadikilla. So Luca takes this as an insult. So even though he says that you are mine, you belong to me, it is not because of a grudge or anything. It is because he feels like he is cheated by a woman. He doesn't want his mistress to be unfaithful to him. He wants at least Luca to be faithful to him. Now Sergius, Luca പെട്ടെന്ന് പറയാണ്, what will you do if the Swiss saw us like this? ഇപ്പോൾ Sergius and Luca, they are holding each other. Luca is in Sergius's arms. If the Swiss walks in and sees us like this, and if Captain Bluntschli says that to Raina, would Raina believe him? Now Sergius is so taken aback. Sergius says that if he ever touches her again, he will marry her. So that is a promise Sergius gives here. Sergius says that if these hands ever touch you again, they shall touch my affianced bride. ഇനി ഞാൻ നിന്നെ തൊടുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ നിന്നെ വിവാഹം കഴിച്ചിരിക്കും. But Luca is doubtful of this promise. But this could be the peak moment in the drama where everything is actually changing. Sergius is a cheat in life, but he is very true to his word. വാക്കിന് വിലയുള്ള മനുഷ്യനാണ്. ബാക്കി എല്ലാ കാര്യത്തിലും അയാളൊരു വൃത്തികെട്ടവനാണെങ്കിലും വാക്കിന് നല്ലൊരു വിലയുള്ളൊരു മനുഷ്യനാണ്. സോ നൗ അറ്റ് ദിസ് പോയിന്റ് ആന്റിസിപ്പേഷൻ ഇസ് ബിൽഡിംഗ് അപ്പ് ഇൻ ദി ഓഡിയൻസ്, ബിക്കോസ് വി ആർ ആന്റിസിപ്പേറ്റിംഗ് that he might touch Luca again. Sergius Luca ഇനി തൊടുമോ എന്നുള്ളൊരു ആന്റിസിപ്പേഷൻ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ വരുന്നു. ഈ സമയത്ത് Bluntschli enters and Luca is exiting, and Bluntschli looks at Luca as she exits. So that brings us to the end of today's class. We will stop here. So we saw a couple of sequences. At first we saw the exchange between Luca brought in message, telegram for Bluntschli. Bluntschli got the message that his father is now dead and he has inherited some hotel, so he has to leave in an hour. And then we saw the exchange between Nicola and Luca. It is again revealed, their relationship is revealed, and after that Sergius and Luca, they talk to each other, and a turning point occurs here when Luca reveals to Sergius that the person from that night in Raina's room is Captain Bluntschli, and now that he has come back, Raina is sure to marry him and reject Sergius. Another turning point occurs when Sergius promises that if he ever touches Luca again, he will marry her. So this brings us to the end of today's lesson. So I hope this was beneficial for you guys, and thank you so much for watching and for your attention till now, and hope you have fun in the coming classes too. Thank you so much. Bye.